guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary and it is Thursday. Now this Thursday, like many others, one of the main things I was doing down here was controlling the chaos and cleaning up. I had made a giant mess redoing Captain Crankypants' tank, but I'm happy to report that he is, while still pouty and surly, adjusting quite well. So let's take a look at that and around the fish room and a few other things that I'm working on. As you can see, Captain is pretty much back to his normal behavior. Large frown and sassy attitude intact. Whiskey has adjusted very, very well to the new little cave and is definitely more outgoing, though he's doing his typical hiding under the log behavior as of now. The 75-gallon community of Nano South American fish is doing awesome, and it seems like most of you want to see green neons put in here, and I have to tell you, that's pretty exciting. As of right now, there's still only about 40 Otocinclus and the Epistogramma pair. You can see the male right there. You can see he's looking fantastic and is super happy in this aquascape. I have to say, I'm really pleased with how this is coming along. I had almost no crypt melt, and everything is staying nice and green with minimal algae thanks to the workhorses of the Otocinclus. Now, I mentioned earlier in the week that normally I would never add fish this soon to an aquarium without an extended quarantine, but it really seemed to be in the best interest of the Otocinclus. Especially with wild caught fish, I generally recommend at least a month of quarantine to make sure that they don't have any hidden issues. In this case, with only having the one pair of fish in there, I felt like it was an adequate place to do their quarantine. So it's still going to be a few weeks before I add any other fish here, as I need to make sure that the Otos are totally healthy. As of right now, the Otos are all over the nooks and crannies of this wood, really feasting on the fungus that grows on it, especially in those first several weeks. That was part of the reason I made the decision to add them so early to this aquarium. Often when you get in freshly imported Otocinclus, it can be very difficult to feed them adequately. And by providing them this sort of environment full of delicious things that are great for them to eat, it really has helped to bolster their immunity. And as you can see from these, I think there's probably 5 or 6 pictured here, their bellies are exceptionally round and they look great. They're loving the infusoria that the leaf litter's producing, as well as grazing on all the surfaces of this driftwood. But again, I cannot tell you guys how important it is to do a prolonged quarantine of new species, especially those that come out of the wild. In my opinion, it's absolutely imperative to do at least a month quarantine before adding fish like this to your display. Since this aquarium just has the pair of Epistogrammas, I felt pretty comfortable risking their health by adding all these Otos. Now, in an ideal world, when you quarantine, you would quarantine in a substantially smaller aquarium than one that you're going to be adding them to. And this is because it's way easier to monitor fish in a smaller aquarium, it's easier to do frequent water changes, and it's also a lot less medication should you need to use them, which can save you a lot of money. But all in all, I think that this aquarium is coming out absolutely beautiful. I'm really pretty pleased, and I'm excited to start the next one. Now, since you guys voted so strongly for the green neons, I'm pretty sure I'm going to use them in this aquarium. But don't you worry, I've got 2 more South American communities that I want to build, and I'll be sure to get your input on which fish to put in those as well. The green neons were the clear winner when I asked you guys what fish I should put into that 75-gallon. In this aquarium, you can see that there is one lonely little cardinal in there, and it really makes the difference in the fish's color really, really obvious to see them combined like that. I think that these guys are gonna love the 75-gallon, and I can't wait for a few more weeks to pass for me to be able to add them in there. Just the way that they interact with plants and each other, I think, is going to make a stunning, stunning display. Now, the big boys are doing awesome, and another project I would like to do at some point this year is to give their tank a makeover. Originally, I had thought about putting one of the pre-made backgrounds in here, but the issue I have is that to do that, you have to be able to remove the fish in order to glue in the background, and that's not an option for these guys because they're way too big to fit into a 75-gallon aquarium even for a short amount of time. They just wouldn't be able to turn. So I think what I'm going to do is look into some sort of background that I can apply easily from the back. Maybe even something as simple as a piece of painted plywood or foam core. And then just rescape the inside here. Now the big obstacle with these guys is that they're all big fish. They're all well over 1.5 feet and are extremely capable of moving whatever I place in the aquarium, which is what's happened in here. All of this wood used to be pieced together to make a cohesive design. However, they move it where they want it. And that's made for a less than dynamic setup in here. So we'll have to brainstorm on that a bit together and figure out what we can do. The baby Endleys are doing well, still eating me out of house and home, and are putting on size slowly but surely. I'm really, really stoked. Look how cute they are. Look at those little faces. Ugh. You gotta admit, that's freaking adorable. It's hard to believe they're gonna get to be as big as my big boys will. But trust me, in about a year's time, they'll be close to that, and I'll be sure to bring you guys along for the entire journey. So I think that I'm going to turn this mess of a 30-gallon quarantine tank into the next model community for you guys. Let me know if you think that 30-gallon is a good size for me to show you. My thought process is that 30 gallons are a little more versatile with their height for aquascaping than 20-gallon longs are, but the actual stocking densities are very, very similar. This is a tank that's been running again for probably 10 years, and right now it just has head and tail light tetras, which I think are a super, super underrated little fish. They're not one that's particularly flashy, but they look gorgeous against green plants, and I may want to feature them in a future build. That being said, this aquarium has a fair amount of light, which would give me a bit more versatility with my plant choices for you guys. And since these fish have been in stock since I think August, it means that I can easily move them to another aquarium without risking the inhabitants of the other aquarium or the health of the head and tail lights themselves. I think I'll probably get to work on this next week as long as the weather holds out. It's supposed to get cold. We're supposed to have a snowstorm this Saturday. But otherwise, it's relatively mild, which means I can get outside and look through hardscape. Let me know if you want me to do a driftwood scape, a rock scape, a combination scape, or what you'd really like for me to focus on in this next build. As always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you have that notification bell on so you don't miss my Friday live streams or any of my upcoming videos. I have a lot of really cool things planned for you guys, and your input means a lot. So make sure you let me know below what you think about that 30-gallon, what kind of scape you'd like to see, and, you know, just what sort of stocking ideas you have for it. I think in the next one I'd really like to include some Coreodoras catfish, so let me know your thoughts on which species. Make sure you stop by my Instagram, my Facebook, and my website, MsJinx.com, where you can find my upcoming speaking engagements, my current stock list, and information on all things Nano.